let's talk about the cost of beauty. Hi, Dyson. It's only fitting we have a little chat as I do my makeup. As I'm doing my little face, I want everyone to think about how much makeup cost, right? Like how much this mascara, it's like a Sephora collection mascara, how much that costs. I want everyone to think about how if you don't wear makeup to work, you're typically seen as unprofessional, and that's not an anecdote or my opinion. That's life. And there are like studies that back up what I'm saying or that prove my point. I'm not done. See, that's funny. I thought I was done. I'm not done. There's so much more to do. Okay. So for this little look alone, I have used, let me just count out. So foundation, a glowy gel sun glow to mix with the foundation, concealer, blush, powder blush to set the blush, cream gel for my eyebrows, pomade to both fill in and color my eyebrows. What else? Oh yes, cream highlight, powder highlight, lip liner, and lip gloss. How much does that cost? Well over $100, probably $200 on my face right now. Hey bestie, you're like really pretty, but like at what cost? Ooh. So not trying to be too somber, but I have to make this video because it's on my heart and it's on my soul. It's funny, I don't have like a script written. I do have some extensive research, but I haven't looked up anything recently because I know like numbers and data, facts have changed. What I have done for y'all is once again turned off my AC. It is a level of hot in New York City that I have not experienced before. It is about 90 degrees with humidity. I'm not sure what the humidity makes the actual temperature. So it's like 90 degrees plus humidity, so it is 90 degrees. It feels like 100, and who gives a fuck? Why is it so hot? That's how hot it feels. So for you, what I have done, in lieu of extensive research, is turned off my AC and my fan because I care about the audio for this video. That's what I've done. Low-key, a little hesitant, I guess, to make this video because I know beauty is so prized in our society and it truly is so personal. And when I say things like you need to maybe decenter men, because that's honestly where a lot of the female beauty standards like stem from, trying to make yourself attractive to men. If I say that, people are gonna feel offended. And y'all saw earlier in this video, I love makeup. I love being feminine and being girly. And at the same time, I do think it's really important to question these things.
We're about to go meet a 9-year-old girl who was advised by her mom to get double eyelid surgery.
I'm getting defensive when I off the top say beauty standards have become incredibly toxic and we need to really start questioning these things that we're just doing. Question why you're getting so defensive and why that like riles you up in such a way. I'm not attacking anyone's like character or who they are as people. I jokingly said that what I base my personality around is being pretty smart and smelling good. And you know, that's kind of true. Bottle of Delina right here that is fighting for her life. Here, listen. Oh yeah, she's on her last leg. I have this book by Carl Sagan that I'm desperately trying to finish. I made a good little dent. And I have a fuck ton of makeup. behind me. So I definitely do enjoy the things that I mentioned. But what I've begun to notice is that people are making their looks, being attractive, the cornerstone, the crux, the entire foundation for who they are. And that is problematic. And if you get defensive when I say that, I think you have to really look inward and figure out where that animosity is coming from. But someone who will say off the drop of a hat that I benefit from beauty standards, I'm someone that enjoys things that are considered typically feminine, like makeup and skincare, I guess. But maybe I should write a script for this video. Maybe I shouldn't just like do it off the cuff. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna read an essay by James Baldwin that was written in, let me see. I've begun this letter 5 times and torn it up 5 times. I keep seeing your face, which is also the face of your father and my brother. I have known both of you all your lives and have carried your daddy in my arms and on my shoulders, kissed him and spanked him and watched him learn to walk. I don't know if you have known anybody from that far back, if you have loved anybody that long, first as an infant, then as a child, then as a man. You gain a strange perspective on time and human pain and effort. Others cannot see what I see whenever I look into your father's face, for behind your father's face, as it is today, are all those other faces which were his. Let him laugh, and I see a cellar your father does not remember, and a house he does not remember, and I hear his present laughter, his laughter as a child. Let him curse, and I remember his falling down the cellar steps and howling, and I remember with pain his tears, which my hand, or your grandmother's hand, so easily wiped away. But no one hand can escape those tears he sheds visibly today, which one hears in his laughter and in his speech and in his songs. I know what the world has done to my brother and how narrowly he has survived it, and I know, which is much worse, this is the crime of which I curse my country and my countrymen, for which neither I nor time nor history will ever forgive them, that they have destroyed and are destroying hundreds of thousands of lives and do not know it and do not want to know it. Chorus of innocent screaming, no, this is not true, how bitter you are, but I am writing this letter to you to try to tell you something about how to handle them, for most of them do not yet really know that you exist. In hell, that I think that my issues today as a Black woman equate to the issues of the 1960s when James Baldwin wrote this letter to his nephew. I have family members that experience that, and it's really funny when people feel like racism is like so far gone or like someone else's issue, when I have literal members of my family that weren't allowed to sit at lunch counters and that had to be bused into certain schools. And I don't know, every day the older I get, I'm so sometimes shocked and sometimes unfortunately just reaffirmed that a lot of us live in different Americas. We have had such different experiences that it's hard for us to really grapple. Like, I'll say racism and beauty standards and how those go hand in hand, and people are like, what? Anyway, look, I know that I have it easier than my mom did, and my mom's generation, my aunt's generation. My aunt's like in her 70s, like, but that doesn't mean that these issues have completely gone away. Why am I bringing race into this? So beauty standards affect everyone, especially women though, and especially Black women.
What did you have done? I had a Brazilian butt lift. Basically, a fat transfer. So I took fat from my stomach, my arms, my thighs, and I kind of moved it into like my bum.
And where did you go to get that done?
I went to DR to
Why?
get a BBL.
Okay, first of all, why DR and what is a BBL?
A BBL is a Brazilian butt lift. Other words, fat transfer.
Just
putting it in my butt. Yeah. I went to DR because, yeah, they'll perform the surgery. They'll get you nice and snatched with a flat stomach. But see, DR and Colombia, they'll give you that nice Coke bottle. Yeah, that Coke bottle look like, you know what I'm saying?
It may sound simple to take fat from here and here and move it to there, but the BBL is undoubtedly the most dangerous cosmetic surgery in the world.
Okay. Take my hand, give it to me, give me your hand. We're gonna hold it, we're gonna do this together. You do not need filler. You do not need Botox. You do not need breast implants, a BBL, a fat transfer, any other psychotic thing. Oh, you don't need to slice up your nose. You do not need to get double eyelids. If you truly feel that when you look in the mirror, you hate what you see, and I mean, look, save for some sort of accident you might have had or some sort of abnormality you may have been born with, if you look in the mirror and you truly hate what you see, a plastic surgeon will not change that. Say the only thing that can help you if you look in the mirror and you hate what you see, if you are so deeply insecure about your appearance, is a really, really good therapist. That I have a pack or two of weave in my hair right now. I acknowledge I'm wearing nails, jewelry, other things that I don't know, or I think make me more physically attractive, that adoring myself, that whatever that might seem vain. And I'm also going to make the case for why beauty standards are getting dystopian, and why they are especially harmful to Black women. And honestly, I can broaden it to say like women of color in particular, or all women, like especially, but I'm trying to stay in my lane and I'm trying to speak specifically to what I know. And I'm also gonna just come right out of the gate and say that just because I benefit from beauty standards in some regards, and we'll get to that later, and just because I do enjoy to say braid my hair, especially in like ancestral type patterns and shit, that doesn't mean that I'm not allowed to critique a system that I as I mentioned, that I in some ways benefit from and in some ways profit from. Hate to quote Russell Brand because, yeah, but he has a quote that says that when he was poor and he was criticizing the rich, they said that he was just jealous. And when he became rich and began to criticize the rich, that meant he was a hypocrite. Look, I mean, hopefully someone to let me know if there's like someone who's better, like a better human that can, but I mean, hey, a broken clock is right twice a day. When you fit someone's physical ideal, like say the term dream girl is popular now, like say you're some guy's dream girl, that still will not give you the life of your dreams. That's still not going to mean that your husband won't cheat on you. That's still not going to mean that like the doors will open and like everyone falls at your feet and you get the things you want. And even when it is, if and when it is true that people treat you better when you, for example, say like when my hair is braided or straightened versus when it's in its natural state, which is an afro, just because you might notice people treat you differently or better that does not mean that those are the people that are your tribe, that are going to be in your corner, that are going to stay with you even when these beauty standards begin to change as you change. Little, right? Where eventually people just became so rich, they started just doing crazy shit to their face. Like they gave themselves a little cat nose. They gave themselves like sapphire or maybe like yellow flecks of gold eyes. Like they were doing crazy stuff because they had the money, they had the time, and honestly, they were really, really bored. We're there.
Dysmorphia, because it's this very real phenomenon with very real consequences, right? It's the idea that you see your face in a filter and you want your face to look like that filtered version, but in real life. And while the term has been used as far back as 2018, I mean, these tools have only grown. And we see no shortage of beauty-specific versions on TikTok blowing up. And a study from dermatologists at Boston University found just how serious an influence that filters, as well as social media in general, have. Finding that the more time you spend on social media, the more likely you are to actually want to undergo a cosmetic procedure. But they're pointing to apps like Snapchat and Instagram, and they're noting that the use of filters or like photo editing apps is especially correlated with a respondent's desire to get some kind of work done. And researchers also finding that those who follow celebrities and influencers were also more likely to have this desire.
People will lie about work they've had done to sell you a product that will cure an insecurity that they themselves have created. That's what happens when you listen to these people and when you center and really idolize people who don't have your best interest at heart, people who don't love you. They don't care about you. They're trying to sell you a product. They will say, I never got lip filler. This is all lip liner and lipstick. And you too can look like this if you just buy my lip liner and lipstick. And boom, like now you feel insecure about something that you never did in the first place, and she's richer for it. And maybe 6 or almost a decade later, she will cry about the beauty standards that she herself is held to, while again refusing to acknowledge that she herself created them.
When we compare ourselves to those images, it is lightning fast. It's automatic. Once you start thinking, oh, that's manipulated, that's filtered, it's too late. The damage has already been done. In fact, what it tends to communicate is that you should look more closely, because if someone was filtered, that means maybe they were trying to hide a flaw, or maybe they were trying to look especially beautiful, and you should look, try to figure out what's going on, right? So if anything, it makes you spend more time, more focus on that image.
There's nothing wrong with getting work done. You do you, it is your body. If it is safe, it makes you happy, have at it. But I also have to mention that the researchers at BU, they explained that if people start to see these procedures as like cure-alls for bigger problems, or like if they start getting insanely unrealistic ideas about what they should look like, then I mean, we're in very concerning territory. And of course, this all comes as cosmetic procedures, especially less invasive work, have become increasingly popular with younger people. The American Society of Plastic Surgeons reporting that between 2019 and 2022, there was a 71% increase in people getting Botox in their 20s. And that increase was also similar to the use of hyaluronic acid fillers, with the uptick also being incredibly staggering when you looked at people 19 and younger, or just big increases again for both Botox and filler in that time period. And of course, the most immediate aspect is also a major factor, with the American Society of Plastic Surgeons even touching on this issue last year, noting that it goes beyond people seeing filters or influencers and wanting to look like them. It's also because so many of these videos discussing these interventions, they're so fast and quick that they sometimes create misconceptions. They make it seem like instant gratification, which makes it even more appealing. But as Dr. Danielle DeLuca Pytel explained, the transformation that occurs after facial or body surgery, even some injections, is far longer than what you would see on an Instagram reel. So you got a lot of people setting themselves up to be dissatisfied, especially because they don't understand what they're signing up for. TikTok is like, get ready with me for my nose job. With, for example, one TikToker who chronicled her surgery journey, telling the Washington Post that there just seems to be less judgment associated with these surgeries and more support, more people willing to say, hey, if you want it, go for it. Right? So at the very least, people can feel like, hey, they're being honest about what they're doing. They're not acting like it's all natural when it's not, which of course is something that we've seen since forever with celebrity culture. Though you also had the Post speaking to another author who said that while transparency is good, we could also end up over normalizing routines that often enforce harmful beauty standards, with Professor Engel noting how consequential that can be.
I love Gen Z's openness in terms of the way they use it to fight stigma and encourage people to be vulnerable in places where they hurt. I think that's a beautiful thing, but there's a real problem when your openness is making someone else feel vulnerable. So when we normalize facial dissatisfaction, when we normalize fear of aging in these very young populations, you are hurting people when you do that, even if it just feels like bonding. Each new thing that gets added to the list of things you have to do to be presentable sticks. So the list gets longer and longer. Once people start accessing these products, it feels like a race. If everyone else is doing it, you feel like you have to do it too, just to stay in the.
I can go home after like work or like a casting call or whatever. I can take my makeup off. I can take these extensions out and I can be me. I can be who I am. When I look in the mirror at the end of the day, I can still see my aunt, I can see my mom, I can see my grandmothers on both sides. Hell is the day when I change and I remove everything that makes me, me. Everything you don't like or that society has told you to hate about yourself, you can put it all on a silver platter for everyone to rearrange and pick apart, and they will still say that it is not enough. You should have cut off more or maybe taken off a little bit less. You don't want to know what is something they can't pick apart or something that cannot be taken away? Your intellect, your mind, focusing on what is inside, how kind you are, how smart you are. Idolizing authors, start idolizing scientists, start idolizing politicians or community leaders that you think are doing great work. Like, there is so much more to life than how you look. And again, I'm not saying that there are certain doors that will remain closed if you don't look a certain way. There are some velvet ropes you can't pass unless you look a certain way. But then there are so many other ropes to cross, paths to create. Hell, build your own club, build your own table. And the thing, when we de-ethnicize ourselves, when we, as people of color, change ourselves to fit in a standard that was never made for us to begin with, we lose all of that love. That's what you're doing when you're taking away this, like, oh, I hate this, I hate that. You're taking away all of that love and all those people who love you. You're removing them from your face, from your body. For people who don't give a fuck about you, it's like buying a designer label to impress someone you don't even like in the first place. That is what a lot of y'all are doing. People that I think really should be seriously considering something that does change who you are is if you are, again, an actress, a model, or someone. I mean, there are basically people who are genetically perfect, like Adriana Lima, who felt, oh, to make myself even a little bit more perfect, give myself that edge, I need to make myself, like, I need to get breast implants, I need to do this surgery and that surgery. I'm not saying that these things don't exist. I'm just saying that you need to think long and hard before you do them.
But you do have some arguing that dermatologists and other professionals should talk to their patients more about why they're seeking treatment to ensure that there's no unhealthy or concerning motivation.
People can just like go and get surgery like whenever they want. And for non-cis people, they have to go through like multiple like health evals and like doctor's visits and things like that to make sure they're both spiritually, physically, and mentally prepared for the surgery. And with the amount of cis people I know that do have body dysmorphia or probably should be speaking to a therapist rather than to a plastic surgeon, it doesn't make sense to me, kind of. I feel like everyone should have to go through pretty thorough mental health evaluations before permanently altering any part of their body. And we're back with an outfit change and a curl that refuses to cooperate. Ooh. Anyway, real quick, I wanted to get back on and wanted to provide some solutions, because when John Oliver or Hassan Minhaj or like anyone goes through like an in-depth, a deep dive on a giant problem in society, sometimes I'm low-key like, get to the point, get to the solutions, what can I do about it? So besides like, loving yourself, building your internal validation and your internal self-esteem, there are plenty of things you can do besides makeup or fillers that might help increase your external beauty. And these are things that I really enjoy because it's about increasing your internal health and wellness, and that projects outward, and then you look better because of it. Kind of like how when you exercise, you increase that circulation and blood flow. Ooh, ADHD. There's like a bird flying out my window and it looks like a crow. Is that an omen? If you think beauty is an asset and it is something that you can, and maybe if in certain industries should invest in, but it's great to invest in something that appreciates and not depreciates. And many of the investments in beauty are depreciating assets. If you want to do Botox to maybe tighten up your face or I don't know, lift your eye position, or I don't know why people get Botox. Maybe to like fix the 11 lines that are kind of beginning to form on my face. Anyway, instead of doing that, why don't you try microcurrent? Unlike Botox, which makes your muscles atrophy, which at times gives you the egg or maybe the shape of face you want, I feel like microcurrent is one of those things that enhances your beauty rather than like tries to cover up or change your beauty. So yeah, if you want like a tighter, more taut, more snatched appearance, try microcurrent instead of Botox. If you want a more youthful, glowing, lush appearance rather than filler, I would say maybe try red light therapy. Red light therapy and near infrared light has been proven to basically increase collagen production in the skin and also increase skin tone and texture. So you're going to end up with a much more bright, glowing, luminous appearance, and you don't have to potentially suffer from puffy filler face. Another thing, if you're hoping to, again, preserve your beauty or preserve your youth for as long as you can, rather than do an invasive facelift, collagen instead of getting a ponytail facelift. Now, again, the facelift is going to be very dramatic, and it's going to really give you that, you know, look that a lot of people, even like younger people, claim to want. But again, collagen helps your bones, it helps your, not just like your muscular density, but it also helps your muscles. And it's been said by a few doctors in the space that your muscle density and your amount of muscle is actually a really good indicator of longevity. So collagen is just going to really help maintain one of those beacons of youth, which is that, you know, like a decent muscle structure. And again, a lot of collagen supplements have probiotics and hyaluronic acid, which also helps retain like it helps retain moisture to the skin, so that dewy, bright, luminous appearance. If you take collagen enough, then, you know, you'll begin to see some positive impacts on your skin and your overall health and your overall appearance. Now, again, I am not Delulu, or I'm not that Delulu. I know that collagen is not going to be the same as a facelift. I know that microcurrent therapy is not going to be the same as Botox, and I know red light therapy is not going to be the same as facial filler. However, what I'm saying is that I think these things that you do, rather than the more evasive surgeries, they're going to withstand the test of time a little bit more than, say, like a trendy lip or a trendy like facial style or face shape. Mine wrote a book. She's incredibly brilliant. Her name is Mina Lee Chen, and it's a book of Latin translations. And say what you want about the ancient Romans, one of their quotes, translation of what it, the rough translation is basically, be careful with my heart as you go. So personally, when I look at tweakments and plastic surgery and things, again, I'm not telling grown people what to do with their time and their money, but rather than try to conform to the people who don't really like you or who don't really know you or will only like you if you look a certain way, you have people in your life who care for you, right? You have your mom, you have your dad, you have your friends, you have your romantic partners, you have whoever that is in your life. And those people, it's like when you are harming yourself or changing yourself, you are in a way harming those other people because they care about you. For example, Kanye West's mother, she went under the knife to get some, like, you know, liposuction. She's grown, she can do whatever she wants, but all surgery has risk and all surgery has complications. And I think that that knowledge has kind of been downplayed, or maybe in some cases just forgotten, because even if a surgery has minimal risk, it still does have some level of risk to it. Kanye West would have probably rather had his mom maybe a few pounds like heavier than to have a mom who was like maybe super thin and maybe fit into certain parts of society or was more accepted into other parts of society. When it comes to beauty as an investment, I have to agree that it does help some people sometimes, but there's also cases where it actually backfires. Like, again, beautiful Adriana Lima got some surgery to make herself even more beautiful. Margot Robbie's had a little bit of work done. Marilyn Monroe, of course, has had famously her chin and her nose done, although arguably that might have been because one of her male lovers was abusive. Anyway, so I'm not saying beauty is a poor investment. I'm just saying there are other investments you could also do to further your career, like acting lessons, vocal lessons, singing, dancing, basically something that's not going to depreciate and that can only grow with time. For example, if you begin to learn to dance, like you begin to train yourself in that way, you're only going to get better at it. Whereas if you do get Botox or filler, that is something that you're going to have to, it's something that you're going to have to maintain for a while, like over time. And again, with the Botox, you're like paralyzing these muscles and you're letting them atrophy. So if you don't feel like maintaining that look over time, it may not bring you the results that you want, is what I'm trying to say. Please don't be mad at me, but when it comes to preserving your youth and maintaining a more healthy, glowy appearance, one more luminous countenance, a more voluminous, like vibrant, dewy, whatever the fuck you want to call all the adjectives, just throw them all out there. When it comes to that, not drinking alcohol and not doing hard drugs really helps. Like, there's plenty of studies to say that alcohol is not only horrible for your insides, but it also shows and reflects on your outsides. So hey, just one woman's opinion. But again, if you do really want to preserve your youth, try microcurrent, try collagen, try red light. Definitely go to the gym. And again, just hang out with people who are good for you. You'll be surprised how much your face reflects what's inside your soul. Surprised how much your face reflects what's going on internally. So you hanging out with that man, he's stressing you out, it's gonna show on your face. Your mom is just like keeps stepping over boundaries, gonna show up on your face. Best friend doesn't know when to leave well enough alone, gonna show up on your face. Change up who you hang out with and you'd be surprised how well and how luminous and how young you appear. Yeah, I think that's about it in terms of like solutions and shit. Respect trans people or we're gonna have a problem. And stay well, stay healthy, my lovelies. On that note, I love you guys. Be safe, be well, be kind to you, and I'll see you in the next one.